You lock your door every time.
You never know. What if somebody just like runs up and they're ha ha, and then I'm like,
I don't think that's
and
gonna
then I
happen.
fall out, and I'm just like, why put yourself in a position for something to happen if you could just? I mean, that took me what, less than half a second.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I'm just like, I always think it's funny. They're just like precautions.
And then somebody's gonna come up now to my locked door
And try and open it while you're in here.
Yeah, and they're gonna try it because they're trying to rob us or whatever. And then they're gonna run around to your door, and you're gonna frantically try to lock your door. And I'm gonna be like, see, if it was just locked, this wouldn't have happened. And we could have looked at the guy and been like, fuck you.
Yeah, you can absolutely give me your I told you so when that happens.
I will. Welcome back to Rolling Silverware. I'm Bunny.
I'm Kat.
And this is our post-shift shit talk. Not really post-shift for me today because I didn't work today.
Yeah, so. I worked this morning, so I had a nice little time off before we got together. I mean, this morning I wasn't super busy. I was in a section that wasn't supposed to get cut, and then I ended up getting cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, at like 2. And I know the bartender had a section today, so she was like in rotation. So we had 5 servers in rotation, or 5 people taking tables in rotation, and there was only 5 reservations. Literally, we had like 30 covers all day. And I was like, great, this is perfect. The bartender wasn't really getting a whole lot of tables, but like nobody was really getting a whole lot of tables. We were picking up some, like all of the servers were picking up a little bit on the patio, but she wasn't able to do that. They didn't offer her that. And so I'm assuming, yeah. Oh. And so I'm assuming that she asked to cut lounge, right? She's like, hey, I'm already taking tables. Like, can I just move into lounge? It's easier, blah, blah, blah. Which, you know, when I was bartending, I've done that a couple of times. So it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. So they cut me, and then 5 minutes later, of course, it blows up, right? Like, people start getting, like, a bunch of drinks in, a bunch of parties sit down, like, large party walk-ins sit down, and they all want, you know, mixed drinks in this. So she's stuck behind the bar with, like, 5 tickets, and she has, like, 3 tables, and she's freaking out, like, mad. And she apparently, one of the other servers was telling me about it.
Terrible bartender?
Yeah, of course it was. One of the other servers was telling me about it. They were like, yeah, she's like super pissed right now because, you know, she has all this stuff to do and all these drinks to make. And I'm like, oh, shocking. As a bartender, she has drinks to make.
Just to do her job?
Who would have thought? Right, yeah, it was shocking.
Gross.
I can't believe it. And he had like greeted a table for her, got him waters and bread and stuff. And he was like, yeah, and she's over there like freaking out. And I was like, funny, because I'm pretty sure she asked to cut me.
Right.
She asked to be in rotation, or you know what I mean? Like, because they don't put bartenders in rotation.
Not very often.
On a Saturday. No. Like, for a weekend, they don't put bartenders in rotation. They have the lounge server for a reason.
Right.
During the day shifts. And it's because sometimes it can get busy. And especially during that transition period on Saturday is when it's going to get the busiest. They wouldn't have cut me. Like, don't get me wrong. I was going to ask to get cut.
Right.
I was on my way.
They would have cut a different section that didn't have a person immediately stepping into it.
Right. But also, like, I was on my way to be like, hey, if the bartender's already in rotation, can we just cut me and she can take over my station? Like, I was going to a manager to say this, and they walk up to me and they go, hey, babe, you're cut. And I was like, fucking perfect.
Right.
Didn't even have to say anything, you know? So I'm pretty sure it was her that said something, and then immediately is complaining about how busy she is. And it's like, yeah. That's what you wanted, isn't it? Isn't that what you wanted? I don't get it. Why are you complaining?
She's just terrible in every sense of the word. Like, whether she gets what she wants, it's not how she wanted it, or she doesn't get what she wants, and she's complaining about that too. Like, there's no middle ground.
Never.
It's just more things to complain about.
Yeah.
She's terrible.
Fucking awful.
Would never hang out with her outside of work. Like,
I don't even want to hang out with her inside work.
At all.
Like, I don't want to talk to her ever.
I hate my lounge shifts when I know she's there, because she always wants to start up conversations with me. It's always bitching about something. She's always trying to get information out of me too.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I don't gossip with you.
This isn't a kiki sesh. Like, that's not happening at all. And if she asked me to have a cigarette with her one more time, and I'm like, I don't smoke. Like,
I quit years ago.
I don't smoke cigarettes. It's not something that I do often at all. And the last person I want to go and have 10 fucking minutes with is you.
Right. If that's the thing, is there's certain people here that like vape, right? And if I walk out to vape and they're outside, it is a 2-minute conversation, if that. Like, you walk outside, you take your hit, you walk back in. It's super easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No ifs. It's fine.
I'm not taking a 5 to 10 minute break all the way outside.
All the way outside to smell cigarette smoke. No. Like, I quit so long ago. The only time I ever want to smell your Marlboro is when I am 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I said it doesn't happen often. If I am absolutely shit-faced and 3 of my friends go outside to have a cigarette, I'm probably going to take a couple hits off of those cigarettes.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I never, and I don't want to smell it, and I definitely don't want to smell it while I'm standing at a table because you're 5 feet behind me. Like, I hate when I can smell somebody else's cigarette smoke, and it's like,
well, and I don't
dude.
want to smell like that to my tables. I never
Exactly.
smoked at work the entire time that I have been a cigarette smoker. If I ever stepped out to have a genuine cigarette break, it was when I was doing my side work. Like, my tables are gone. I'm just closing the restaurant at this point. Then yeah, okay, I'll go outside and have a cigarette. Like, years ago when I actually smoked. But like, I don't want to. I'm never gonna walk up to my table because it's a whole body aroma that comes with you.
It really is.
Like,
yeah.
you can't wash your hands enough to get it off of your entire uniform. Like,
No, I did. I mean, I smoked for a long time cigarettes, and a lot of that was in, working in this industry. And I never thought anything of it. I would just reek of cigarettes walking up to my table. And then once I switched over to vapes, is so different now. Just that stark, like, assault of smell that comes from the bartenders. We had a bartender for a little bit when I was still working behind the bar that smoked cigarettes.
Yeah.
So this bartender would go and she'd be like, oh, I'd have to go have a cigarette break. She was with us for what, like 2-3 months?
If that, yeah.
Yeah. And she would go and have a cigarette, and then she would come back as she's working right next to me, and I'm talking to a table, and all I can smell is cigarette smoke. And I was just like, please stop. Like, the bar is so much closer than any table is ever gonna be. And even at a table, it's bad. At the bar, you're eating a full meal and all you can smell is cigarettes coming off the bartender that's insisting on doing their dishes directly in front of me.
No, thank you.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to turn into a truth commercial. Like,
Right.
I do what you want.
Bad.
Like, do whatever. It's your life. Kill yourself. Like, I'm here for it. I'm trying to go as quickly as possible, too. I get it. But fuck me, like, certain industries, you can't.
No.
When people are eating, they don't want to smell that, and it's going to affect your tips.
Yeah.
Yesterday, so I know that you have a lot to talk about.
I was like, I just have one thing, and it literally says just Monday. That's that's the whole note. The entire memo is just Monday.
Yeah.
So we can get into that, but yesterday
you absolutely had one hell of a shift on Monday. So I heard. You haven't told me anything other than an entire episode could be dedicated to this shift. This was so bonkers. But I do real quick want to talk about Friday night, our server manager being fucking on one. Oh my gosh.
I have no idea what was going on. Yeah, so when she was really on one, because she came storming up to me yesterday, and she's like, 56 is your table. And I was like, oh, no, that's other server's table, because she's in the section right next to me. And she goes, no, we were very clear about what tables were in her section. She knew from the start of her shift. And she's like leaning into me while she's saying this, and she's fucking aggro about it. And I'm just like, I put my hands up and I go, hey, that table got sat, and I said, that's your table. I had every thought in my head. Like, the last time I had the section that I was in last night, I didn't have that table. Mm-hmm. So I get it. You guys are switching shit up every fucking night, and that's great. But when I looked at the floor plan, I did not see that. So that's my bad. Like, I am sorry. I gave her a table like, oh, fucking boo-hoo, right?
Big whoop, yeah.
And then from that conversation where I was obviously not upset at all, server manager then goes to other server and starts going off on her.
Yeah.
And starts saying, like, you knew that wasn't your table, and you can't just be grabbing tables and this and this and that. And then...
And this server isn't even known for snaking tables.
Never.
It's not like anybody's ever complained about her snaking tables, because she doesn't.
She doesn't. She just works hard, and, like, she gets the shit out of the stick a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, sure, she's been in the industry a long time, and sometimes her attitude is shit, but, like, honestly, genuinely, her and I both collectively thought that was her table. Mm-hmm. Neither one of us were mad about it in any way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, she goes off on the other server, and then other server walks up to me moments later to be like, I am so sorry. I didn't know that was your table. I 100% thought it was mine. Another server even came up and said, hey, that table's been sitting a while. Isn't it yours? And I looked at her and I went, I also thought that was your table.
Yeah.
Like, again, my hands are up. I'm just like, please don't think that I just bitched out the manager over this one fucking table. Like,
yeah, this two-top, like...
I'm not that server. Like,
yeah.
I've never been that server. I'm certainly not that. I get the best sections here all the fucking time. If somebody accidentally walks up to a table, I'm the last person that's going to start freaking out on anybody about it.
Right.
If anything, I'll just walk up and be like, oh, I think that is my section. And then they either hand it off to me or I go, you got the whole order in? Just keep it this round.
Yeah, I'll take the next table that sits in your section, or you know what I mean? Like, we can figure that out.
I'll just get it the next go. Like, it's like, I can't stress enough how much I don't care about one table. Now, if it happened repeatedly over the course of a whole night, yeah, I might be fucking annoyed. Also, again, like I said, my hands are up and I'm just like, I 100% believed that was your table. Please do not think that I went to management over this. I did not. Yeah. I said, I don't know what the fuck's up her ass tonight. I don't know why she's freaking out about this. And her and I have this moment like, okay, cool. So we're both good. And then she even said, take the next table that comes down in my section. Mm-hmm. But I took that as take that table the next round. So then moments later.
Yes, you should, because it's your section. Yeah.
Right. Moments later, she gets at another table. So now that would be 3 tables for her. Mm-hmm. And I have 2. So it was like, it was going to give one of us a third table. And I walk past her and I go, hey, 51's yours. It's your section. Just take it. I'm going to get moved into the lounge shortly because we weren't busy. So I was like, I'm going to get the chance to have so many more tables. Just go ahead and take it. She looks at me, she goes, are you sure? I was like, 100%. But then, like, server manager was still walking around trying to figure out if I had taken that table or not.
I know.
Because she was like, well, did you go up and talk to them? And I'm like, well, yeah, I dropped their oysters, but it's not my table. And I don't want it. Like, I don't want to do this swap. Also, it's confusing for the guests, too. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, there's some restaurants where your server is just whoever is there, you know, like where they literally just like everybody takes every table or whatever. Like, I've dealt with that before when I go out to eat, but like that's not how we run it here. And also, she kind of has a rapport with this table. She's been up to them 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
She
took their entire order. Like,
yeah, I am not stepping up to this table and taking over now.
Yeah.
All I did was drop the oysters, tell the lady that her nail polish was adorable because it was this bright neon yellow and I loved it. It was like highlighter yellow. And she's like, oh, it's out of my comfort zone. And I was like, you're rocking it. You look like that's a summer color. You look so good. And then the husband was like, oh yeah, I got mine done too. And I went, oh, do you work hard on those? Because there was nothing on his nails. And he was kidding. He had not gotten his nails done. Yeah, of course. And I was like, oh, they look great. And then her and I laughed. and then I walked away. No, and then later.
Yeah, later. So first, even before that happened, I saw her go up to the line, which our GM is now on the line. I think.
Yeah, I saw her in the chef coat.
Yeah, I think our EKM is like on vacation or something.
He is.
Yeah, so we have a lot of people stepping in right now to kind of help the kitchen, including the GM. So she was in like her chef coat. She's on the line. She's, expoing.
Right.
And what our GM does is everything that's on the screen, she'll print a ticket for and then have the tickets in front of her, like in a row.
Which is wild to me. It's like we don't run with tickets anymore for a reason, but is the system going down a lot? Is that her backup plan? I don't know. I thought that was super weird because she had like 12 tickets printed. Yeah. And all I could think is like, oh, we have a screen. Like, right. This handy dandy.
But how many times have we complained, even just in the last 3 months on this podcast, about our kitchen going down, or you know what I mean? Like, it happens.
No, that's what I mean. Like, is it because it's been happening a lot, or I didn't know what her reasoning was for it? Like, hey, you run that kitchen any way you want.
Yeah,
to me, I just felt like we're just wasting paper.
Yeah, fair. Point. I see the server manager walk up, and she goes, "That's not standard," and she grabs her supervisor and goes, "I'm going to talk to you in the back for a second." And like pulls him in the back. What? And I've noticed all of our managers are really going to him to complain a lot. Like, I bet he has so much tea on management, because I've seen the general manager be like, oh, I need to talk to you about so-and-so, whatever, after having an uncomfortable situation with a different manager. Yeah. I've seen the server manager pulling him back to complain to him. Like, I know that our host manager has talked to him a lot.
It happens when you're a supervisor, because I got all of the tea when I was a supervisor.
Yeah, it was
like every single one of them, from our general manager all the way down. Mm-hmm. If you're the last person in that office with with one other manager, they are talking shit. Like, that's just how it goes.
But it's like, even mid-shift,
you're kind of like middle ground, So it's like they're like, oh, well, you're on my side, and it's like, oh,
kind of.
I might be. I don't know. See what you have to say.
Yeah. So I saw her do that, and I was like, ooh. And that was my first inclination that she was on a roll tonight, or that night anyways. And then that happened with you.
Yeah.
And then later that night, I saw the Cutie Patootie server that I'm absolutely in love with.
Yeah.
He's greeting a table, and he's talking to them. And she walks up, and she goes, why is he talking to that? Why is he greeting that table? That's not his table. Which, first of all,
We can greet tables.
Yeah, we greet tables for each other all the time.
In
like
fact, that's standard.
Yeah, it's standard to do that. If you see that a table's been sitting for a while, you greet the table.
Yeah, and if you get caught walking past a table that hasn't been greeted and they've been there for, even 3 minutes, you can get spoken to about that.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a table that you are very aware because of the server paper on the table.
Yep.
You're aware that has not been greeted. You should be greeting it.
And it's in your service path, so you know how long they've been sitting there. Like, yeah, it's absolutely standard to greet tables.
Yeah, so relax.
And so she's like, why is he talking to that table? That's not his table. And the host is sitting there like, oh, well, the hammer didn't want the table. She, she's busy or she's doing this, whatever, so she couldn't take the table. And he's in the section that's like around all of the rest of this large party. Like, he has all the rest of those tables. So he took the table. And she starts like going in on the host, which I don't know why you do that. Like, she's not in charge of that at all. But at the moment...
No, they can't help who walks up to the table.
Right. At the moment, I needed a manager swipe for one of those cards.
Discount card, yeah.
Yeah, for a discount card. And so I was like, hey, I just really need this. Like, can somebody come and help me? So I grabbed the supervisor to come and help me with that. And I walked away, but I was just like, God dang, like, what is she doing?
Yeah. Well, and then she went up to the server the hammer, whose table it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And she had turned it down immediately. Like, she had her reasons for not wanting to take that table. She had enough of her own tables. She said, I don't want it. So supervisor actually gave it to a different server and said, hey, you go get that. While he was walking up to it, Cutie Patootie walked up and started greeting it, naturally because it's in with his section.
Yeah.
So other server, Paranorman, was actually very happy that he didn't have to take it.
Yeah.
He was like, cool, dope, I didn't want that anyways. And then, not knowing even what table they were talking about, he spoke to me in the beverage station. He's like, you ever have a table that you just absolutely, like, somebody tells you to go take and you really don't want to take them, and then somebody else walks up to it and you're like, oh, thank God I don't have to. And I looked at him and I was like, that's such a specific occurrence, but maybe, like, possibly that, like, that's, like, it was, like, there's so many steps to that. Maybe that's happened to me before.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you want it?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, it's just a bunch of young kids.
Yeah, it was a bunch of teenagers.
Literally, it was 8 teenagers. I guess server manager ended up yelling at the hammer about it.
No shit.
And she's like, why didn't you take that table? We have assigned that to the hammers. You knew that was your table. And hammer was like, no. When I came in, the entire big party section was under one color. It was not my section. It was a different guy's section. The guy Cutie Patootie, who ended up taking it.
Mm-hmm.
So the hammer was trying to say, like, it wasn't in mine. Yes, the supervisor came up and told me it was going to be mine, but I immediately looked at the supervisor and said, I don't really want another table outside of my section right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like, to an extent, every server should have that option. Like, if you're asking me to pick up a table that's completely outside of my section, we should have the option to be like, is there someone closer?
Right.
Now, I would rarely turn that down because I'm never fucking offered that. So it's like, and lately they have been giving that round table to the hammer, right? But that night, I even checked the floor plan later. She's not wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't
not in her section. So, yeah, the server manager's shouting at her about it.
It's crazy.
And I'm just like, what? Like, who's hurting you? Like, who is yelling at you to cause you to come in and be like this tonight? Especially over all these, like, minor...
The weirdest things.
Like, these tiny, minor little occurrences that, like, none of us are giving a flying fuck about. Like, had you not told me that 56 was my table, I never would have known, and the other server never would have known, and we would have happily gone about our whole night having our own sections.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't crying that I didn't have another table. And just like I said, moments later, I moved into the lounge.
Yeah.
Where I ended up getting a full section. So, like, I don't know. She was definitely on one.
So I told you yesterday, I have tea on that table.
Right.
I think it was an 8-top, right?
It was an 8-top.
16 to 19-year-olds.
Yeah, and they were ordering bad.
They ordered, like, one kid ordered $200 worth of food.
Yeah, he ordered 2 entrees, 2 of our most expensive entrees. So that meant 2 entrees and 4 sides.
Yep.
That's what he wanted for his meal. Not just, like, add on those lobster tails. I want a full serving.
A full lobster with 2 sides. And I want crab legs.
Yeah.
And those kids ordered so much that they ended up with a $900 tab.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Apparently. So management was on top of this because, I'm sure Cutie Patootie was like, hey, this is really iffy. I don't know about this. Like, maybe they have...
$900? Are you kidding me? I'm sweating.
I'm sweating. Not just for the tip, but for
we've
for
spoken about this
young.
before. Anything over 400 or 500, all you're thinking is, like, are they going to, like... are they even going to get close to dropping $100 on top of what they're already spending? Because it's a lot of money. I get it. It's a lot of money to spend. But now you're looking at, like, teenagers with this high of a bill. I'm expecting them all to fucking run at this point.
So management had somebody at every exit at the end of their meal. The table tells Cutie Patootie, 2 checks. 2 checks is fine. He goes, okay, cool. One guy gets up, walks around for a bit, like to the bathroom, to this, to that, whatever, gets back to the table. So the supervisor that was helping us from a different location is standing at the host desk, like pretending to talk to the host. He hears this kid come back to the table and go, there's somebody at every exit. We can't leave.
Shut up.
Yep. They 100% planned to dine and dash.
And they were at that table right next to the door.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I was like, why would you even sit them there? No, you're getting into the back of the PDR. Like, there's no way I'm sitting you anywhere near a door for you to fucking dine and dash.
So on a $900 tab, that would have sucked so bad.
They were going to dine and dash. And then all of a sudden, we're going to get 8 separate checks. So now everyone has their own checks.
Right.
And it became a whole nightmare. They
left him, obviously.
They left him $40.
Less than, yeah.
Yeah, less than $40 on a $900 tab.
It's disgusting.
And he took it in stride.
He really
was like,
did.
Hey.
He had a better attitude than I would have had. The first thing I did when I found out the total amount, because I talked to him when I saw all the split checks. And I was like, fuck, 8? And he goes, each one of them a separate check. And I go, fuck. I was like, I really hope that pays out for you. And then the next thing I caught was him rounding the corner being like, it did not pay out. And I was like, fuck, I'm so sorry. And he told me that it was like $37 or something like that. I walked straight up to the supervisor who was going to get him because he wanted to talk to him about it. And I looked at him and I said, we can't make him pay out. We can't make him tip out on that. Like, you can't force him to tip out on $900. Because how much, I meant to look it up. I want to see how much of that went to the runner.
Yep.
Like, how much money from $900 in sales goes to the runner, because we had a runner on that night, and how much goes to the bussers. Not to say that they didn't do their job during it as well, but, like, if you're not making any money off of it, you know, like, can the restaurant cover that tip out is all I'm thinking, like, just this one time? Like, that fucking blows. One kid left him $2.
Yeah.
Like, just
our
threw down
management,
$2.
When we first started, or when I first started the management team that we had, they would have given money to the server.
They would have given
cash.
Money to, I got cash.
Yeah.
On a $1,400
Yeah,
check.
you've talked about that before. So, yeah, our old management team would have given him cash and just been like, hey, here at least covers the tip out so that you don't have to tip out on that. Right. Our management team now didn't. They were just like, wow, that really sucks. And then, I mean, the hammer must have been so vilified, like, good fucking thing I didn't take that table.
But she felt so bad.
Well, everybody felt bad. Yeah. I wasn't even considered for that table, and I felt awful for him. I felt
terrible. I was like, that's literally the worst thing that can happen, because you're giving all of the service and you're getting those orders in. And he even said, he's like, when they were ordering 2 entrees apiece, he spoke with them like, you do understand that is this much of an item and this much of an item, because like kids just in general, most young adults don't know how to tip properly. Like, even if they come out and they think that they're like doing a good job, they leave you $5 and they're like, yeah, that's a tip, right? Because a lot of them haven't worked in the industry and a lot of them don't know. And like, not to get back into the whole whether you should or shouldn't tip thing, it's just like you can look at a table of teenagers and be like, this is probably gonna suck. Yeah. But really usually it sucks. But I had no idea that they were 100% trying to dine and dash. They were trying to. They were going to. And then one of them kind of scouted and realized that there was a manager or supervisor at every single exit. Yeah, we ain't fucking stupid. Waiting for them. And it had not to in a restaurant like this. No, you want to go to Denny's, sweetheart? you're gonna make it out that door and nobody's even gonna bat an eye at you. No, because your $70 tab doesn't fucking matter. Right. Then that's the thing too, is I think that they went a little crazy. Like, if they would have come in and just got like chicken nuggets and Shirley Temples, that probably wouldn't have triggered. No, we had alarm bells going off for sure. Mm-hmm. It would have just been one of those where it's like, yeah, they're teenagers. They probably just graduated. They got whatever. Right. And then they would have had $12 tabs. Yeah. And if they got caught dining and dashing, it's like, okay, I guess I'll pay those $12. Like, whatever, but we wouldn't have been on high alert at all. But you want to order for yourself $200 worth of food, and 8 of you do that? And then think crazy. That management isn't going to stand at every exit to make sure that you don't bounce? Yeah. You're 16. Fuck off. 16, and also they all just looked like they had skateboarded here, like they all looked like Not that there's a look that you should or shouldn't have, but it's like they definitely looked like just you're just like your average everyday teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all in hoodies, they're all just hanging out.
Yeah.
They all got fucking Sprites and everything, so it's just like like come on.
You were gonna fuck us over, and we knew that.
Oh,
and
that's
then you
fantastic.
fucked your one server over.
Fantastic that we caught on to that.
Yeah.
Because I had no news on this.
Mm-hmm.
You just told me I heard some tea, and I'm like, well, great. Now I have to wait. So I ever think anytime, oh, I've got tea, I go great for the weekend.
Shut up.
So I got to work on Monday, and I parked my car. And one of our other servers, who has been with us for forever, right? She comes and knocks on my window. And so I open my door and I push all of my fucking shit over and I say, hop in, because we have like 10 minutes and I'm finishing up my makeup. And so she hops in and she's like, so I should probably tell you something. And I'm like, oh, holy shit, shift hasn't even, I haven't clocked in yet. Like, ooh, good. I had left my house telling my son that I will be home earlier than usual because it's a Monday. Like, I am not the closer. And even though I'm in the station that usually stays a little longer, I had every intention of fucking off. I was like, I had my week. You know, my week was done. This is my Friday.
Yep.
I'm going to walk into a fucking
relatively easy shift.
Yeah, bullshit Monday like always. And I'm going to fucking bounce as soon as I can because supervisor's close. Or, no, he wasn't closing, but I just knew he was like, I knew that the managers that were there would probably allow me to take the bounce, you know? Mm-hmm. And so she's sitting there and she goes, well, I should probably tell you they're going to ask you to hammer. And I go, no.
They can ask.
Yeah, they can ask. I was like, I told my son that I would be home. I was like, why? And she's like, well, hammer called out. And so she's not coming. So we started the night with 5 servers on the floor.
Okay.
Which is like a regular Monday.
Yeah.
That's how many we have. And usually that's too many.
Yeah.
And so now we're down 1. Okay. So now there's 4 of us and they're going to ask me to hammer. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I was like, you do it. And she's like, well, they won't let me anymore. And I was like, I don't fucking care. You did it just last week. Like, we wiggled you into it last week. We'll do it again. I'm not staying. And I'll be just as honest. I'll be like, I promised my son. I come in immediately. I have not even clocked in yet. Server manager's like, so? And I'm like, no.
I have been warned? No.
Our host manager was there too. And he starts giggling. And I was like, I already heard you want me to hammer. And I, like, if possible, I don't want to. I was like, she can do it, because she was still standing right there next to me. I was like, she can do it. She's willing to do it. Please, can I take the bounce? Like, please, just. And they're like, all right, listen, let's just, everybody in your original spots, you go ahead and take the hammer section for now to her, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, we'll just work it out this way. So then I'm in the back, and I have, I think, 1 table at this point. Like, it's been like half an hour or whatever. And I'm in the back, and I see Southern Peach, bartender, and she's coming back out from her break, and she's standing so close to leaving the kitchen, and she is like welled up with tears.
Oh, what?
And I go, what's up? And she's like, I'm just not okay today. Like, whatever's going on in her life, she's just not okay today. And I look at her and I said, don't go out there. Don't go out there. Go sit back down. You don't need to come back from your break right this very second. Go sit back down. Take a breath. Because she's like choking back tears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't need to be on the floor right now. I'll go let morning bartender know that you just need an extra beat. And she goes, okay, thank you so much. So she grabs some soda and she heads back. I was like, get some water. Just take the extra second. So I see her grab a cup and she's going to get something. So I go and tell morning bartender, I was like, hey, she needs an extra minute. She'll be out in a couple. And she's like, yeah, of course. Don't worry about it. Like, she only has like 3 people at the bar top, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the finishing touches before your night bartender comes on, you know? So no big deal. And then I walk back to the back and she is now like bawling.
Holy shit.
She's very upset. And I said, stay here. I will go get a manager. Like, let's see if they can call someone else. Like, you are not okay.
Yeah.
So I go and get the server manager, and right as we're about to leave the office, Southern Peach comes in to talk to her. She's like, I'm right here. I'll come in. So she comes in to talk to her. So calls are being made, and all I'm thinking is, great. Now I'm not hammering. Mm-hmm. I'm about to get asked to bartend. Mm-hmm. So I'm waiting for it, and I'm looking at morning bartender, and I go, are you nervous? Because I'm nervous. And she goes, why? I was like, because they're going to ask me to bartend. She goes, they already asked me. I told them I can't. She's like, she called out of work the day before for being sick. And then I take a full second to look at her. She still looks a little ill. Mm-hmm. Like, she's recovering. And she's like, I'm not okay. Like, I need to go home. I was like, and you have every right to go home. You should go home. Like, working a double when you're...
Yeah, she's already worked a 7-hour shift.
Right, like... absolutely not. You should go home. So I keep waiting for it. And then they don't come up to me. And the next thing I know, Southern Peach is leaving. She's got all of her stuff and she heads out the back door. And I'm like, okay. So I'm wondering, did brand new bartender, is she coming in? Like, what, did we get a cover? What's going on? Server manager walks up to me and the host manager and is like, oh, so supervisor's coming in at 5. We're just going to have him bartend. So he's not bartended very many times.
No, but it is a Monday, like you
Right.
said. Usually a slow
Right.
shift. Okay, fine, whatever.
Okay, but remember we had 4 servers. Now we have 3.
Oh, he was on the floor. He wasn't supervising.
No.
He was on the floor to serve.
He was on the floor to serve at 5.
Oh, shit.
So now we have 3. So there's me, the girl who shouldn't be hammering but is, and which is great, like good for her. Girly Pop's coming in at 5:30. So there's 3 of us now.
It's a strong 3, though, to be fair. It's a strong 3.
And thank God it was.
Yeah.
So supervisor gets there. He's like, I just need to get my bar apron and I'll hop right behind the bar. So morning bartender's like, I'm fucking leaving. And I was like, yeah,
for sure.
like now you're here until 5. Like you didn't ask for any of this. Go home. So she leaves. My lounge starts to fill up. I shit you not. Within 15 minutes, we went from having no one at the bar top to having 16 people at the bar top.
Every seat was full.
Every seat was full. As the 15 minutes had hit, like the 15-minute mark from him getting there, 2 people sat at 1 and 2. The handicap
spots that really aren't supposed to be sat.
I have 6 tables.
Oh my!
I have 6 of my own tables. I have 31 through 35 and 37. I have no idea what's happening out on the actual floor. I see people on the patio, which means they're taking people on the patio too. We got annihilated.
Oh,
and
no.
Supervisor has not bartended that many times.
No.
And I am watching people look for him because he's trying to make drinks because drinks are coming in. I've got drinks for every single one of my tables.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have a full restaurant. They're going to be server tickets flying.
All of my tables are okay. So I take that, like I've rung in everything that I need to ring in. I am not running food. I am not helping out anywhere but right here. So I just start grabbing menus and I'm behind the bar now. And so I am pouring drinks. I am making drinks for the people at the bar top. At one point I had 12 checks open.
Holy
6
shit.
checks for the bar and 6 checks of my own tables on a Monday night.
That's crazy.
Bananas. Just fucking crazy. And then drinks are taking forever because he's got to look up every recipe. Southern Peach gave him the flashcards so that he could have like quicker access instead of that big giant fucking bar book that's like a pain in the ass to pull out. So he's doing his best and he's looking at me and he's like, keep anything you open. Like, just keep it. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to you. You are already, like, you got pulled out of a shift that would have possibly made you some good money.
Especially it being that busy.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're like, just let me start them off. And then I leave to go take care of my tables. And I'm hey guys, thanks for, hanging out with us. Drinks will be up in just a minute. Luckily, there were some regulars and they were like, we can tell. Like, don't even worry about it. I'm like, fantastic. Thank you so much. And so then I'm now serving the bar top from outside. And I'm just walking up and I'm just like, what can I get for you? Did you guys want to order anything else? Can I get you, I'm getting setups. I'm getting bread. I'm getting like, and then I start ringing in bar bread for the bar top because I can't leave. I didn't leave the lounge for almost an hour. I'm not kidding. I was getting sodas and shit from the bar because at this point I unwrapped the second well thing so that I could just fill drinks.
Yeah.
It was frantic. Like, considering that the last time that I had a really, really busy day, I had gotten up to 8 tables, and now I'm hanging at 12. Like, it wasn't for long that I had 12, but it was for a long enough that every time I swiped my card, I'm just like, ugh.
That is a scary number to look at, yeah.
So many to see up, and I'm just like, all right, here we go. And, we barely made it through. Like, luckily, the kitchen was fully staffed for a Monday night.
Nice.
So the kitchen didn't feel what we felt because they're like, yeah, this is just like a moderately busy Monday night. Not even like that busy to them because it's the same amount of flow that they're expecting, maybe just a little busier, right? We have kitchen manager running food. The busser is now solely running food. Yeah. No tables are getting bussed because we're full.
They're not leaving.
So. Nobody has gone, so he is now just running food. And I am literally looking at him going, thank you so much. Like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because if it wasn't for him and for the kitchen manager running food, fuck, oh my God. And then server manager, I don't even know where she went. after making all these calls about how she just wasn't going to call anybody else in, I come to the back because I have to leave.
Yeah.
And I grab host manager and I'm like, hey, somebody needs to help supervisor behind the bar. Somebody needs to help him now. No questions asked. So he goes, okay. And his idea was to go and get the server manager and have her go and help. Okay, great. What does she start doing? She helps him make cocktails. I know we've talked about this before, and it's like when I'm behind the bar, I'd rather have my help make the drinks so that I can deal with my people, right? But in this instance, you, server manager, don't know how to make any of the drinks.
Yeah,
you don't know how to make any of these drinks. You aren't the person that's going to speed up this process at all. He's going to do better than you.
Both of you are fumbling through this.
Exactly. Like, and now she's hovering in his well because there's only one well with everything in it. And I'm like, I look over and I'm just like, go to the people. All of these people need things. Go to the people. So then again, I'm from the outside of the bar. I'm grabbing all of these people. Oh, you want the check? Let me close that out for you. Let me grab this. Let me grab that. And again, the supervisor's like, please just close it under you. Just keep it. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. These are all going to you. Like, it's fine. When I say that, like, by the end of it, when we all finally calmed down, it was like 9:15. When we finally all were able to catch a breath. And I already was like, I'm not making it home before my son goes to bed. Like, he's already asleep, like, or he should be on his way to bed.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible. Come to find out later, as I was driving home at 10:15, that's when I left on a Monday. My dad calls me and he's like, why did you tell him you were going to be home early? And I was like, because I should have been. For every reason I should have been. And it was hell. So then we're all in the office at the end. And I mean, there's high fives going to everybody and we're thanking everybody. And we're all in agreement that, like, if it was not this team, I don't think we would, like, but you got to understand, we were comping, orders that had either been forgotten or lost. We were comping drinks throughout the night. We were comping just for waits to sit. We ended up putting people on a 45-minute wait.
On a Monday night. That's unheard of for our restaurant.
But the host manager called it. He walked up because the host was like, I don't even know what to do right now. And he was like, he literally walked up and looked at the guests and he says, guys, we'd love to have you, but we are at about a 40 to 45 minute wait. Because there's no way. Everybody had 7 or 8 tables on their own, let alone the bar is just crammed with people.
Because that's what happens when people get a 30-minute wait time. They're like, oh, I'll just go sit at the bar.
Right.
Not realizing that the bar is probably also pretty fucking busy.
Yeah.
And you might sit there for 15 minutes before anybody can come up to you.
Yeah. And so everybody, like I said, there are times where we just band together and, like, everybody helps everybody in every way possible. And that's what we did that night. However, when I tell you that, like, by the end of it, I was just like, well, I'm not going home, so let's just, bust. Because now we have 3 people to do all of the side work as well.
Yep.
And we can't just
5
leave.
side works.
We can't just leave everything.
No.
And so we're cranking it out, and then supervisor's closing down the bar, and, like, we're doing our best. And so, yeah, we're all in the office at the end, and host manager, because he has to write all of the things that happen, now they're cracking down on our comps. So he literally has to write, like, what the comp was for, why it happened, and, like, what he did about it, right? Like, every single step of the process. So he showed us his notes on his computer, like, before he was going to copy and paste them into the, like, program or whatever. It's literally this fucking book of comments, not just about comps, but then he is praising every single one of us. And he's like, decisions were made that should not have been made. Regardless of whether we were slow last year at this time or not, we should not have been running with just 3 servers on the floor. Like, that was a bad, she didn't even try to call people in. And her reasoning was, now everybody can make a little bit more money. And it's like, sure, maybe we did.
4 is kind of like a minimum, though, of what we need for this restaurant.
We run 4 during the day.
Yeah.
Like, and now you're giving us a night shift when summer has started.
Yeah.
Summer has now started. So kids aren't in school. You don't have to wake up early. Like,
I was gonna say,
some people are starting their summer vacations already here to our city where people take vacations, like, it's.
Was Monday, it wasn't a holiday or anything, was it?
No, it wasn't a holiday. It was just a
day.
Crazy fucking shift. But he told us, he's like, I have literally written in how every single one of you stepped up, like, Bunny, thank you so much for being behind the bar when you did and being able to handle all of that. And even supervisor was like, I probably couldn't have done it without you. And I was like, he's like, thank you for all of that help. And I was like, hey man, like, you you handled great. Like, I'll give it. I told him we were outside vaping, and I was like, honestly, dude, I have to hand it to you. Even through all of that, through the pile of tickets and through an entirely full bar top, he didn't break a sweat. He did not look stressed at all.
Good for him.
And then he tells me, he's like, well, yeah, I read this book one time where it's like, you want to be the swan in the storm or whatever, something like that. Like, he had some kind of
bullshit, yeah.
bullshit, like, whatever, higher than thou thing to say about it.
Of course he did. He's such a shithead.
Which is fine. But I looked at him, and I was like, actually, I respect that. Like, I think a lot of us could use more of that attitude. Like, hey, I mean, like, it made sense. I was just like, and I did tell him in the moment, too. I was just, because he might listen.
Shout out to the supervisor.
I did tell him in the moment, I was like, that's actually smart. Like, I think that like I said, I think a lot of us could pull a little bit more of that. But also, I have seen him sweating fucking bullets over stuff. So I'm just like, all right, so you read that yesterday? Like, good timing, you know? Like, it's glad that he held it then.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's something that I do remind myself of every once in a while when I'll start feeling that, like, craze of, like, oh my God, I'm so busy, and then I have to, like, I'll sit down and just be like, it's dinner.
Right.
Like, fuck it, there'll be another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
That's my current, like, motto for this year so far has been just nothing matters.
Yeah.
Like, I say it, you've heard me say it, my mom
time.
has heard me say
Nothing
it recently. It's like something happens that would normally piss me off, and I'm just like, nothing matters. Like, at the end, we're living in a simulation and nothing fucking matters. Like,
right. It's late stage capitalism at this level. Nothing fucking matters.
Nothing fucking matters.
It's dinner. It's lunch. There'll be another one tomorrow. Right. Who fucking cares?
Right.
Like, whatever.
Just take it in stride, you know? And, like, we all did that night. Like, I didn't freak out, but yeah, things did have to be comped left and right because I can't provide perfect service to 12 different tables all at the same time. Not the service that they require of us here.
No.
You give me my claim jumper days back? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you weren't going to get better service than if I had 2 tables than if I had fucking 12. The steps of service there were 2.
Yeah.
It was like, greet your table and ring in the food. That's fucking it. Like, if they even got their check, they were lucky. Like, that's... I guess you can leave, you know? But... fucking fine. I don't care. Like, we didn't give a flying fuck there.
Just
nothing
holding
mattered.
guest hostage.
We just want to pay. Yeah, well, I'm gonna go smoke. So it was insane. It was just fucking insane.
That's crazy.
And all I can say is just like, yeah, those calls should not have been made, and especially for her to be able to, like, because she was supposed to leave. Like, she was the morning or the
server manager was the opener.
So she was supposed to, I think she was the opener. Because I don't think we have a mid on Mondays, but we might. Anyways, she was supposed to leave, and she ended up staying until like 7:30 or 8. But still, we're all dealing with this because of your choices. Yeah. And like, it could have been so much worse. Like, we all kept saying, like, if it wasn't us.
That's what when you said, like, who it was, that's a solid team. The only weak link there would have been the bartender.
Right. And only because his speed isn't there yet. That's the only reason why.
Because he doesn't do it often. And that's nothing against him. It's just saying, like, you know, if you only have one bartending shift every 2 months, you're not going to be the fastest at it.
And he's still looking up recipes, which is fine because he hasn't had the chance to or the need to memorize them like the back of his hand. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I was even looking at him. So any drink that I rang in that wasn't a drink that I think he's made consistently, I'm printing the recipe for it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sticking it in the cup or off to the side. I'm just like, hey, here's for that, you know, Mai Tai that we make fucking weird as hell. Here's for that, you know, here's for this cocktail because nobody fucking orders it, you know, like, just so that you have it if you need it. Like, and then at one point I asked him, I was like, do you want to take that and I'll start cranking these out? And he's like, no, I think I got it. I'm like, okay, like, this is your space. I'm not going to take it over. But I can tell you right now, I could have made at least the cocktails that I know how to make so much faster. But there's no fault to him. It's just like, and it's not even that I wanted to get him out for my table. I was just thinking, I know we're comping these. Yeah. Like, he's doing his absolute best, but I know we're comping these. Like, that table's not paying for that.
That's right. Yeah, when you wait 25 minutes for a drink,
and it's the only fault falls on the fact that decisions were made that should not have been made. Yeah. And it was rough. And honestly, because my service couldn't be, and I don't think anybody's was perfect that night because we just couldn't be. I didn't make I wasn't making 20% on every table.
Yeah.
Some tables were very like, oh my God, you guys have so much going on,
That was going to be my next question is, did you walk with decent money?
I mean, for a Monday, yeah. For a Monday, I walked with good money. But for the amount of tables I had, I would say I left with 15%.
Ouch. Yeah.
When you compare it to how many tables I had and what my sales were, and what, the amount, like I tipped out almost like fucking $100 to the restaurant.
Jesus.
Yeah, like it was a lot. I live by this because it's just been so consistent for me in the restaurant industry. Like, don't say things out loud that you don't want to happen. Like, don't jinx it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the one thing you never do at fucking 8 o'clock when we close at 9 is say, like, oh, there's nobody in here. Like, don't.
I'm going to start closing, yeah.
Don't fucking say anything. Don't say anything. And I looked my child in the face and said, I will be home early tonight.
Yep.
Because on any other given fucking Monday that I've been in the lounge section, I've walked out of this building at 8:15.
Yeah.
Because you don't need me in there anymore, Like, there's nobody coming in.
Yep.
Well, who eats at 8:15 on a Monday?
Earlier today on my shift.
Today.
You're a bitch.
Sorry, it just kind of stood out.
Earlier today, I started walking through the kitchen and I was like, it's so dead, I'm going to order food. And the general manager looks at me and she goes, okay, like, why are you? And I was like, no, I need to make money. Like, and she goes, oh, smart. And I was like, yeah, so I'm going to start selfishly doing things for me. I'm going to go take a 30-minute break.
Right.
And I'm going to put in food because I'm hungry and it's dead and nobody's here. And I'm giving her that look like winky, you know what I mean? And I was like, it's dead, and hoping that it would pick up.
Yeah, because that's how it always fucking goes.
It always happens the minute you put in food.
I just saw a TikTok about this too, and somebody was like, okay, I just cleaned all of the menus and we still don't have anyone in the building. I'm going to go order food.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how it goes. Like, the minute you try to get anything done, we're going to get this weird random pop at a time that we've never had a pop before.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. And it picked up a little bit.
I mean, like, I never could have expected that we would get knocked down to 3 servers.
That's crazy.
I never could have expected that to happen. But I absolutely should just, because I usually tell my son, like, I'm not closing, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll be home any earlier. That's usually what I say. But I had
so much confidence.
I had every amount of confidence being like, yep, I'll be out of here at 8. Like, I'm going to tuck my son in and maybe we'll even watch a bit of a movie before he goes to bed. Fuck no, you're not.
Nope, not even a little bit.
Nope, not even a little bit. We had server manager, and now host manager is new, so he's doing everything he can, and honestly, he's holding up.
Yeah, I like him. He tries his best a lot.
And I like him so much, and I like that he is standing his ground on things. Like, to be able to, the notes that he wrote, like, thank you for that. Thank you for being able to send that off to corporate and have them, if anybody checks it and reads it, they're going to know exactly why all of this happened, Like, thank you. And he called us out by name. Like, Bunny did this and, supervisor did this. Like, by name in his notes, it was like they owned. And, like, it felt good to know that, like,
somebody noticed.
Yeah, he noticed and he was aware. But, just, like, running around. And then, I had the majority of my food that got brought out to my tables was brought out by the kitchen manager. Like, and he's not shy to run food. Like, when he can't find somebody, he's like, okay, I'll just run it. And sometimes he gets annoyed about it because rightfully so, we should be back there and running food.
Yeah.
On a night when we have time.
Yeah, when you have servers that can go to the back and
I thanked him from behind the bar because he dropped I had a 5-top. And so he made 2 trips to deliver all that food. Mm. And I was like, thank you. Like, from behind the bar. And he just looked at me like, yeah, you've got enough. Yeah. Like, you have enough going on.
3's crazy to run on a Monday. I would say even like 5 should be minimum for a night shift because then you have the 3 main sections, the 3 rows. You have your lounge bar area, and then you have one person that can do either patio or the large party section.
Right.
And just kind of be in those both areas, like covering those areas.
And it was a beautiful afternoon.
Of course it
Monday was a beautiful afternoon, so people did want to sit outside. It got out of hand so fast, and it was just... it was just one of those days where you leave and you just go, yeah, like, we did that. Like, we knocked that out to the best of all of our abilities. Yeah. And, like I said, like, it could have gone so much worse. Like, if we had any servers there that
one
literally...
One person there that is either new
or
just struggling.
Or where 4 is their max,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And at one point, they even sat the bartender a table... in the 50s.
Get out.
And all I thought was, oh, and then he took a six top in there too. And so at one point, I have just taken over 52. Like, it's not going to me, but they're looking at me because I'm the only person leaving and coming back. Mm-hmm. So I got them refills. I made sure that their food came out good. I ended up fixing an order, and then I got desserts, and I dropped the bill. Like, I chatted. Well, I had someone else drop the bill, but like all he was able to do was put in their food, and then he wasn't able to get back to them for every reason that nobody would have. Even our strongest bartender would have had a night with that, especially if any of us looked at her and we're like, well, I mean, yeah, your bar top's full, but you can probably handle it. I don't think like being alone back there with a full bar top and tickets printing it's rough. Yeah. It's rough. And it's like, because, yeah. And like I said, it was less than 15 minutes. He went from 0 to 15 people sitting at that bar top. And it's just like, yeah, what are you going to do? Like, this is it. Thank you to those guests that can just see it for a second, like, that's all we ever ask is like, just open your eyes a little bit wider than your table. Like, just a little bit wider. Yes. Just be able to have that understanding that like everything in your row is probably one server. Like, probably. Depends on what restaurant you're at. And like, that's not up for the guests to know. Like, no, I don't expect them to know that, but I do expect them to be able to see or to know that they just had to wait 25, 30 minutes on a Monday night means that we're probably fucking busy.
Yeah, like, you had to wait 20 minutes to get to your table. Once you got sat down at your table, you noticed the server like going to every single table around you, and then you notice your server going behind the bar and helping the entire full bar top. Like, you're looking around with your eyes and you're like, wow, it's really busy tonight. And then you sit down and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's taking the server 5 minutes to come over and ask me for my drinks. Like, yeah, no shit. You watched me come from behind the bar. I was just making drinks behind the bar, and I walk over to your table where you're looking around at full tables everywhere else. Maybe make the connection that this is busy, and you might have to wait an extra minute or two for whatever you're asking for, but you're going to get the best service that I can possibly give you, whether that be, great service or okay service. You're going to get service eventually. Yeah. It's just not going to be the minute you sit down, because literally nobody can do that right now.
I can't get to you because I'm talking in order to 6 other tables.
Right.
So as the moment that I have that time to head to you, like, it's not that I haven't walked to you yet, it's that I haven't had the chance.
Yeah.
And, some people were irritated about the length of time they waited for their drinks, or the length of time for the check or whatever. And it's like, and I'm always on the check, like, I always have that in my pocket, but you know what I can't fit in my pocket is 10 checks.
Yeah.
So I didn't have 10 checks ready to go, necessarily all at one time. But also there was no moment Monday night that I was not speed walking. Like, there was and there was nobody in that section that connects to the lounge, right? From the lounge to the kitchen, there was no people sat in that section. So yeah, I half ran. Like, there was definitely some very running steps in that section to just get me that extra second into the kitchen and get what I need and get the fuck out. Honestly, I just, like, we all did the best we could, but I gotta say, like, for me walking in there, like, well, driving here and expecting just fuck whatever. Like, I was in half a mood, and I was like, whatever, I'll crank it out if I have to, whatever.
No, and then for 2 hours.
I did not have a choice other than you just strap in and you go. Like, it was, oh God.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, which is why I text you and I was like, yeah, so today. Like, one of those times where we're all just walking past, like, anytime anybody who worked with us walked past me and they're like, are you okay? This was my only response was, and I just walked away. Because no, I'm not okay. Like, at no point was I okay, but tables didn't know that, Yeah. All right, well, are you ready to check out?
Yeah, let's get the week over with.
Let's get the fuck out. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.